Hey everybody, as you're preparing your print-on-demand shop for holiday sales volume in the fourth quarter, it's important to remember that there are some additional products beyond the staples like t-shirts, sweatshirts, and mugs that can offer great sales opportunities around the holidays. In this video, we're going to take a look at 3 samples of some more specialized products from Printify that you can integrate into your print-on-demand shop to boost those sales during the holiday shopping season this year. Before we dive in, I want to mention this video is sponsored by Printify, and they provided the samples for our review free of charge. All right, so it is currently mid-September as of the filming of this video, and you could certainly be watching this at any time of year to prepare for the fourth quarter. And it's important to remember that in addition to designs like this amazing Bigfoot ugly Christmas sweater design on the sweatshirt I'm wearing, in addition to designs that are specific to holidays, there are also products that are specific to holidays. And even if they're not designed 100% for one particular holiday, they might just be more popular around that given holiday. I feel like I'm gonna say the word holiday about 4,000 times in this video. So let's jump in and talk about the samples that I have here. We'll take a look at them. And of course, these are not the only more specialized products for you to consider. Printify has a massive catalog of products. These are just samples that I thought would be interesting for us to look at. The first sample that we have to look at is a ceramic ornament made by print provider Imagine Your Photos. And this is a single-sided print, so it's white on one side and your print on the other side. Now you can fill in the background with any color that you want right in the design editor. You don't have to use a background color if the design you have looks good on a white background, and then that way it's the same color on both sides. But if you need to have a background color in there, then it will always be white on the back side. They come with the hanging string attached, and they are available in a few different shapes. And the print on these is a sublimation print, basically like a sublimation mug. Very similar in terms of finish. It's kind of glossy on the outside. Feels nice and sturdy. Of course, being ceramic, it is breakable, but it doesn't feel super fragile. And the print quality came out pretty good on this one. The text of my design is pretty sharp. The only thing I would point out, it looks like perhaps the red background is not perfectly centered because you can see more of the white on the right side versus the left where the red kind of curves over the edge. So that is just one thing to be aware of. I don't believe it's super noticeable. Now these are not the only style of ornament available in the Printify catalog. There are some other options which we'll see when we hop over on the computer, but ornaments in general are a good example of a product that is very specific to the holiday. This is not something that you're likely to be selling a lot of in March or April or something like that. They're going to sell in the fourth quarter and then probably not so much after that. So these are a great example of something I definitely would do the manual renewal option on if you sell on Etsy, because 4 months after they stop selling, they'll go into your expired listings, and then you can wait until Q4 rolls around again, maybe like 6 to 8 weeks before. And that way, if you have a lot of these listed in your Etsy shop, you're not paying the 20 cents to keep renewing them all year long when they're just not really gonna sell. And another thing I really like about ornaments is that they really work well on a lot of different niches. Now, I did a print on here of kind of a classic oversaturated niche, which is our first home and then the year. And so this is not a great niche to try and enter organically if you're not planning on advertising or doing anything like that. However, that's just a simple example of a very repeatable design, and there are lots of opportunities with ornaments. All right, the next sample I have for us to look at is a puzzle from print provider District Photo. And this particular one is a 250 piece puzzle. And I have to say, when I ordered this sample, I went for the 250 piece size because it is not the smallest and not the largest, thinking that, oh, this should be fairly easy. And I threw a relatively general landscape design. I got that from Vexels, thinking that that would be a pretty simple puzzle to put together. But let me tell you, this was actually harder than it looks to put together. Now, there are a couple of border lines in a couple places along the edge of the design. That is actually not the print provider's fault in this case. This design has a solid border around it, and I just didn't place it 100% perfectly when I ordered the sample. So that is actually my fault. There's at least one other print provider on Printify that does offer puzzles, but the ones from District Photo come in this laminated cardboard box with a reference image of the puzzle on the cover. This is an okay storage box, but I would say it's good enough to wrap it up and give as a gift. All right, now onto the puzzle itself. The pieces all fit together well. There was no issue getting the pieces to fit together. None of them are particularly loose or anything like that. There did not seem to be any errors or issues in the cutting. The kind of fiberboard backing to the puzzle pieces is fairly thick. I would say it's pretty average as far as puzzles go, in my experience anyway. And the print quality overall, I am quite happy with. It's It's a nice glossy, smooth finish to the top of the puzzle pieces. The print quality is nice and crisp. However, there is one minor thing here to be aware of. While in general, this matches the reference photo and my print file, on the left side, it does appear like this was not centered perfectly, and a little bit of the left side of the image was cut off. Because if you look at the reference image closely, and you look at the last mountain on the left, look at where the darker line, that darker outline of that mountain goes, and you notice that it ends before the edge of the image. There's a little gap there between that last mountain and the edge of the image. But then look at the actual puzzle. The print on the puzzle has the line from that last mountain on the left actually intersecting with the border of the puzzle and being cut off. So that little extra space there, I don't know, that might be 1/4 of an inch or less, did not actually get printed on the puzzle. However, I don't know how noticeable that's going to be in the end, and I also don't know that that happens every single time. So I did want to point that out because I did notice it. Now, as far as niches and designs go for puzzles, of course, these have to be full solid prints. They cannot be transparent PNGs that you would use for like a t-shirt. So if you have designs that you sell on posters or other wall art prints, those can be a good fit for puzzles. And if you actually sell your own photography or stylized photography or your own artwork, puzzles can be a great way for people to be able to give those designs as gifts. For example, if you take photographs of national parks in the United States or national parks in other countries, those kinds of things can be popular on puzzles, and some of those niches have relatively low competition. So there can be some good opportunities for photographers and artists as far as puzzles go. All right, the last sample that we have is a pair of all-over print slippers. So for me, usually my print providers on Printify are located in the United States, and that's because I do the most sales volume in the United States, and I want orders to arrive as quickly as possible. However, on Printify, there are some products that are only available from print providers in other countries. So if you want to offer the products, like these all-over print slippers, you have limited choices. And these are from print provider Smart Printy, located in China. Now, the first thing I'm sure you're wondering is how long did they take to arrive? So let's talk about that before we even talk about the print quality of them. So I ordered these on September 3rd. They shipped on September 6th, 3 days later, and then I received them on September 16th, 10 days later. So all in all, that's 13 days from the date of order to the time of arrival. And in terms of shipping from China to the United States and not paying extra for expedited shipping, 13 days overall is not that bad. However, that is something to be aware of. All right, let's talk about the actual samples. So these are an all-over print. Let's talk about the print quality first. The material is almost like a suede, like a faux suede material. The print quality, I'm actually very pleasantly surprised by. I'll put up an image of one of the mock-up photos provided by Printify next to a close-up shot of these, so you can see how closely they actually came out to what the mock-up shows. But a couple things to be aware of. Because it is that faux suede-like material, if you brush the fabric in sort of the opposite direction, kind of go against the grain, what you can do is you can actually lift up the fibers of the fabric, and when you do that, you can see deeper into it. I'm doing a bad job of describing this, and what that does is it helps you to see the white base layer underneath. And it doesn't make it look terrible. Hopefully you can tell from the close-ups that it's not like a deal breaker or anything. But if you didn't have that, then they wouldn't be really fuzzy and soft and warm. So I think the trade-off is fine. Now the inside of these is going to be white. There are no other color options for you, so you're just gonna have the white option. The insoles do have padding in them. It's memory foam-esque, and the outsole has a nice rubberized texture to it, as well as kind of this grip texture as well. I kind of went around the edges and just pulled in several different places, and I did not find any spots where it seemed like it would tear out easily or come apart. So overall, the fabric and the construction of them seems to be pretty solid. The one thing that's going to be important on these is the price. And while the quality of the print and the construction is good, and I would say it's good enough to sell, and that's the most important thing, I also think that they're a little bit close to the limit of what I think a reasonable price is going to be for a product like this. So now would be a good time to hop over to the computer. Let's look at the pricing for all of these samples, and then we'll also talk about some designing tips in the editor view and some other niche ideas. All right, let's talk about this ornament first here from Imagine Your Photos. Before we jump into the catalog, just want to show you a couple things about the editing process here. So you've got a circle, a heart, a snowflake, and a star. Each one of them has a safe print area and then a bleed area, just like ceramic mugs. So the circle probably has the largest and, of course, most symmetrical print area. Then you've got the heart, which is the sample that we got. We have a snowflake, and then we also have a star. Now, on the heart, I did have a couple little parts of my design, or especially around the top of the text here, that were outside of the safe area just a little bit, and they seem to come out just fine. And if you offer all of the different, or even just 2 different shape options in your listings, you're going to want to make sure you look at each one separately, and that if you need to make an adjustment that only applies to one, like for example, I wouldn't make this any larger on the heart option. However, it doesn't look like it's filling up the full space on the circle, so I would select this Make Specific Design for Circle option. Then that will lock in my design changes to the circle, and now I can make this one larger to fill out more of that space. Now in the Printify catalog, to find the pricing as well as other ornament options, you would go to the catalog. Under Home and Living, they actually have an ornaments section. And there you'll find that they do have a couple different providers. WOYC, or Who's On Your Case, actually has a wooden ornament option. There are metal ornaments. There's ceramic ornaments available from Duplium in Canada, if you sell in Canada. There's also the metal with printed center from a couple different print providers, a Christmas ball ornament from Imagine Your Photos, as well as the ceramic ornaments from Imagine Your Photos. So let's take a look at the pricing of these ceramic ones that we had the sample of. So the base price on these, if you have Printify Premium, is $4.44 with a shipping charge in the US of $5.49. So that's going to be a total of $9.93 with shipping included. So hopping over to our trusty Allura calculator, if we have a cost of $9.93 and we're looking to get around a 25 to 30% profit margin, that would put our price right at $16.99, which is going to give us a profit margin of 29%, or exactly $5. So if you wanted to knock that price down $1 and go $15.99 total, then you'd be looking at $4-ish profit, 26% profit margin. So you could go $15.99, $16.99 either way. And if you don't do free shipping on them and you want to do like a $3 shipping charge or something like that, then you'd be looking at $12.99 or $13.99 with a $3 shipping charge would get you to either $15.99 or $16.99. And there are niches that will support higher prices than that as well, so you could definitely get away with all the way up to $19.99 or even slightly higher if you're selling in one of those personalized niches where you are adding names or initials, things like that. It's not just all about actual Christmas designs. It can be any niche really that people are interested in that they might want to buy an ornament for. So here's a great example. Bigfoot ornament is a search phrase with only about 2,000 search results right now on Etsy. And the niche itself has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas. It's just that people who are interested in Bigfoot or find things about Bigfoot funny would be willing to buy an ornament to put on their tree. And I use Sales Samurai to actually pull up an individual competitor listing here to see what tags they're using, because this one has almost 8,000 views and almost 1,000 likes or favorites. So let's just see what tags they're using here with Sales Samurai. If you look down at a couple of the more specific ones they're using, they have Sasquatch ornament and Bigfoot ornament. Both of those right now are indicated as having over 400 monthly searches, and we're not quite at the peak season for people buying Christmas tree ornaments being mid-September. We're getting there, but we're not quite at the peak of that yet, so that volume may increase over the next 30 to 60 days. So I think that's a good example of a niche idea that doesn't have to be about the Christmas holiday itself, that you can still add ornaments to your shop for. Now let's take a look at the puzzles. We have a couple different options that are from District Photo, and that's where our sample was from. The regular puzzles from District Photo come in 110, 252, that was the sample we got, 500 or 1,014 pieces. That 252 was not that easy. I can only imagine how long it would take me to do a 1,014 piece puzzle. But they also have a kids puzzle in a 30-piece size that can either be horizontal or vertical. Now there are also puzzles available from Spoke Custom Products. They have 3 different sizes available, as well as MIA Merchandise. They have a few sizes available. And then Imagine Your Photos has multiple sizes available as well. So from District Photo, the puzzles are available in both vertical and horizontal format. They list them separately, although they're the same price for each size. And the smallest size, the 110 piece, is $5.75. The size we got, 252 pieces, is $8.62. 500 is $11.48, and 1,000 piece is $19.54. And the shipping price does vary slightly by size on this one. So for the smallest size in the US, shipping's $4.99. The biggest size in the US, the shipping's $7.09. So there's about a $2 difference there between the smallest size and the largest size. $5.75 and $4.99 for shipping is going to get you a total price of $10.74. So if you did a price of $19.99 on the smallest size, you're looking at a 35% profit margin, or $6.90. Now the largest size is quite a bit more expensive, $19.54, and then I think it was $7.09 for shipping. So that's $26.63. So you'd be looking at having to go north of $40 to get that 30% profit margin. You would have to go with a price of $44.99 to get a 30% profit margin on that largest size. So you certainly can include the largest size in your listing, because if you're doing the smallest size, that's going to be the price that people see in the search results. Now, I mentioned National Park Puzzle earlier because I thought that might be a good niche to take a look at, especially if you do photography or your own artwork, because that would translate nicely into a puzzle just like it would on a poster. However, there are also designs available in more of that print-on-demand poster style that would be available to anybody to put on a puzzle. And I thought this was a good one to take a look at because the National Park Puzzle search phrase right now has about 2,700 search results on Etsy, and Sales Samurai is showing about 200 monthly searches right now. And again, people like to give this kind of thing as gifts, so that could spike a little bit more as we get further into fourth quarter. And lastly, we've got the slippers to take a look at. So these are only available on Printify currently from Smart Printy. Again, those come directly from China, and they're available in both men's and women's sizes. They are the same price, at least for right now. They're $9.20 for all sizes, both men's and women's, and then shipping is $12.49. And that's with the Printify premium pricing. So the total price on these is $21.69. And again, while I think the quality is good enough to sell, and I don't have any doubts on that, that price is a little bit too close, I think, to the retail price that I had in mind. So if we sold them for $29.99, that would only be a $5 or 17% profit margin, and that's just not high enough. Now, $34.99 would get us to 27% or $9.53. That's an acceptable profit margin for me. However, $35, and that's based on Printify Premium again, so the free Printify account pricing is going to be higher than that. That's pushing it, in my opinion, for this particular product. Now, if you're offering personalized slippers with family names or initials or something like that on them, I could see going $35 for a pair of slippers, but I have to say that is pushing it in my opinion. And if you take a look at search results for even just the general search phrase, personalized slippers, the competition actually, surprisingly, is not that massive for such a general term. It's about 5,200 right now on Etsy. But if you notice, a lot of these search results feature things for bridesmaids, brides, things like that. And a lot of them also seem to be embroidered. So you would have an opportunity to offer something a little bit different than what a lot of these search results seem to be. And there certainly are some more specific search phrases around slippers that have less than 5,000 competition right now. Some of them are pretty low. However, a lot of them are more general terms aimed at the type of material and things like that. Not a whole lot that are like design niche specific as far as low competition, higher search volume, at least as far as what I'm seeing right now in my Sales Samurai Chrome extension. So although I would not rule out offering the personalized slippers altogether in my shop, I think I would prioritize those last over the ornaments and the puzzles. And certainly there are other specific products that are great for holidays as well. I don't want to give the impression that these slippers are completely not worth looking further into, but with that price that I would have to charge, as well as the shipping time being 13 days from when I ordered it to when I received it in the US, knowing that around the holidays, that tends to get even longer for international shipping. So those are the reasons why I'm thinking I would prioritize those after the puzzles and the ornaments as far as researching some niches and creating listings. So I hope you found this information helpful as you are building up your listings for the fourth quarter holiday shopping season. Don't forget to focus on some of these products that sell well in the fourth quarter in addition to the actual designs. Let me know in the comments if you have any other suggestions for specific types of products that sell really well in the fourth quarter. And here's to all of us absolutely crushing it with sales to round out 2022. Don't forget to hit that like button so YouTube can show the video to more people, and hit that subscribe button as well so you can be notified when I come out with new POD Insights videos. Thanks everybody. See you next time.